Bright Duty. Every student matters.
Welcome to another lecture, and in today's lecture we are going to continue with the play The Bishop's Candlesticks. So far we have read that the bishop, a very kind-hearted, a very beautiful-minded man, he returned back home late because he had gone to see Mary's mother. She was not well. Now, Person and Mary. Person was the bishop's sister. She was very protective about her brother, and she kept on asking Mary, who was their house help, why her brother was late for home. Finally, Mary told her the reason why he was late. On coming home, the bishop saw that Person had been crying. And why was she crying? Because she got to know that the bishop had sold her, silver salt cellars. They were very close to her. She was very attached to them. And the reason why he had sold them was because he wanted to give the money to Mayor Grenville so that she could pay her rent. We then read that when the bishop was reading, a convict entered his house and he asked for food. The bishop was he was very sad because Person had the habit of locking the cupboards and then going to sleep. So he requested Person to come out and to give something to eat to that man. Person was obviously very reluctant. She did not want to do this because it was very late at night and she thought that people have actually made it a habit to disturb them, whenever they need anything, they just come to their house and they disturb them. Now, we also read that the convict was obviously having a very big knife in his hand, and when he ate the pie, he drank the wine, he was talking, something, and it has been written in the story that since he was hungry and he was drinking wine, so it had started to affect him. It has started to affect his mind. Bishop told Person to go back into her room because he wanted to talk to the convict alone. Then the bishop asked him about the life he had before he went to the prison. The convict told him that it was 10 years ago when he was a man. But now he was just a number. And what was the number? 15729. This was the number which was given to the convict in the prison. So he told the bishop that he had a wife whose name was Janet, and she was very, very ill. They had nothing to eat. And so the convict stole so that he could give food to his wife. But he was caught, he was sent to jail, and the very same night he was informed by the gaoler, who was a police officer, that his wife had died. Once the bishop got to know about the convict's story, he understood the reason why the convict was so bitter, why he had so much of negativity inside him. So we are going to now continue with our story. So let us start. The bishop told the convict, asked him, "Now tell me about the prison ship, about hell." So the convict had actually he talked about the prison. He used the word hell for that. So the bishop asked him to describe all that he had to go through when he was in the prison. The convict said, "Tell you about it? Look at me. I was a man once. I am a beast now, and they've made me what I am. They chained me like a wild animal. They lashed me like a hound. I fed on filth. I was covered with vermin. I slept on boards and I complained. Then they lashed me again. For 10 years, oh God. They took away my name, they took away my soul, and they gave me a devil in its place. But one day they were careless, and they forgot to chain up their wild beast, and he escaped. He was free. That was 6 weeks ago. I was free to starve." So the convict asked the bishop, "Tell you about it. Do you want to know about it?" He says, "Look at me. I was a man once. So he said that there was a time when I considered myself to be a man, and now I am a beast. Beast means an animal. So he said that I am an animal now, and they have made me what I am. He said that when I was in the jail, they chained me like a wild animal. Chained me to put somebody in chains. So he says, just like a wild animal, I was also chained up in the prison, and they lashed me like a hound. Lashed, beat, to beat somebody, to hit somebody. Hound, a dog. So he says that they hit me, they beat me like a dog. I fed on filled. Fed is the past form of feed. It means he ate, filled. Filled means dirty things. So whatever was given to him for eating, he says that was very, very bad. It was very filthy. It was very dirty. I was covered with vermin. Vermin means that he was always covered with a lot of ants, a lot of worms all over him. So the kind of place where he used to live, it was very dirty, it was not at all human, and he used to be covered with a lot of ants and a lot of worms all over. I slept on boards. Boards, the wooden planks that we have, the wooden boards. So he says, I used to sleep on them and I complained. He says, whenever I would complain about it, they lashed me again. They would again beat me if I would complain. For 10 years, 10 years. So he repeated 10 years twice because he wanted to emphasize on the fact that he was there in the prison, which was no less than a hell for him for 10 long years. He says, they took away my name. I don't remember my name. They took away my soul, my internal soul, whatever I was before going to the prison, I no longer am one. And they gave me a devil in its place. And because of them, I turned into a devil. Devil, somebody who's very bad. So he says that I have changed into a very bad person because of the kind of treatment I got in the jail. He says that one day they were careless, so they did not take much care about me. They did not put me in the lashes. They did not put me in the chains. They forgot to chain up their wild beast, and he escaped, ran away. So he said that one day when they forgot to put me into chains, I ran away from the prison. That was 6 weeks ago. I was free to starve. Starve means to be hungry. So the convict says that although I was free, but I was starving. I got my freedom after running away from the prison, but I also got hunger because of that. The bishop very surprisingly asked him, to starve? They left you to starve? And the convict said, yes, to starve. They feed you in hell, but when you escape from it, you starve. They were hunting me everywhere, and I had no passport, no name. So I stole again. I stole these rags. I stole my food daily. I slept in the woods, in the barns, anywhere. I dare not ask for work, I dare not go into a town to beg. So I stole, and they have made me what I am. They have made me a thief. God curse them all. So he says, yes, I was actually starving. I am very hungry. He says that although I was in the hell, I was in the prison, but at least I was given food. They do feed you in the prison. But once you escape from it, once you run away from the prison, you do not get that daily supply of food that is given to you. He says they were hunting me everywhere. Hunting me, looking for me. So he says that they were looking for me everywhere. I had no passport with myself. I had no name for myself. So what did I do? I stole again. And what did he steal? He stole the rags. Rags means the torn clothes that he was wearing. The torn clothes that he wore at that time. So that is what he meant by rags. He said that I stole these clothes. I stole my food daily. I slept in the woods, in the barns. Woods means forest. Barns are those places where, the animals are kept. For example, stable is for the horses. So similarly, barn is a place for the animals to be kept. So he says that wherever I found place, I slept. I dare not ask for work. Dare not? I cannot ask for work. I cannot muster the courage to ask for work. I cannot go to a town to beg money from people, and so I stole again. He says that they have made me what I am. They over here refers to the prison authorities. So he says that I was not a thief. They have made me one. They have made me a thief. God cursed them all. So since he was very angry as well as upset, so he said that God is going to curse them all. God is going to punish them all for what wrong they have done to me. Empties the bottle and throws it into the fireplace, smashing it. So he drank the wine from the bottle was empty, and then he threw the bottle into the fireplace, smashing it. Smashing it means breaking it. So the bottle broke into pieces. Bishop said, "My son, you have suffered much, but there is hope for all." So the bishop told him that I understand that you have suffered a lot, that there have been a lot of problems, you've been through a lot of pain in your life, but don't forget that there is hope for all. There is a hope for everything to get better one day. The convict says, "Hope? Hope? Ha ha," he laughs wildly. So obviously somebody who's been in a prison, in a hell-like situation and has totally forgotten what humanity is all about, for such a person, words like hope, God, all these words are going to seem very useless. So he started laughing that hope, ha ha, what hope will be there in my life now? Bishop said, "You walked far, you are tired. Lie down and sleep on the couch there, and I will get you some coverings." So the bishop told him that you have walked far, that it has been a very long time since you have escaped from the prison. Ever since you have run away from the prison, you have been walking and running from the police. So he says that you must be very tired. Do one thing, just sleep on the couch. Couch is a big sofa which is big enough for one person to lie down on it. So he says, just lie down and sleep on the couch. I will get you some coverings. Coverings, the bed cloth that we use to cover ourselves with. So he says, I will get you some coverings. The convict says, and if anyone comes, so he was obviously very scared. He says, what if I sleep and if somebody will come to the house, then what will happen? The bishop says, no one will come. But if they do, are you not my friend? So the bishop says that first, nobody is going to come to my house so late. And secondly, even if somebody does come, I can always tell them that you are my friend. Are you not my friend? So the convict was very puzzled. He was very confused. Nobody has been so kind to him, so good to him in a very long time. Nobody had called him his friend. So he was like, your friend? The bishop says they will not molest the bishop's friend. Molest means to trouble. So he says, no matter who comes to my house, nobody will ever think of troubling. Nobody will ever think of bothering a bishop's friend. Convict says, the bishop's friend. He started scratching his head and was very puzzled. Scratching his head, when you are very confused, when you are very puzzled about something, you scratch your head. So the convict started scratching his head. He was puzzled. He did not understand anything that was going around. Bishop says, I will get the covering. So the bishop exited from a door which was on the left so that he could get something with which the convict could cover himself with. Convict looks after him, scratches his head. The bishop's friend. He goes to fire to warm himself and notices the candlesticks. He looks round to see if he is alone and takes them down, weighing them. Silver, by God, heavy, what a prize. So the convict was looking at the bishop when he went out of that room. He was still scratching his head and he said, the bishop's friend? So he could not understand why the bishop had called him his friend. Then he went to the fire so that he could warm himself and he noticed the silver candlesticks that were kept there. When he saw the candlesticks, he looked around himself to be sure that there wasn't anybody in the room. Then he picked those candlesticks in his hand and he started weighing them, and when you want to see how heavy something is. So he started weighing them. He said, this is silver, amazing, and this is very heavy as well. What a prize. What a prize means that this is actually a very expensive thing. This is something which is very unique. He hears the bishop coming and in his haste drops one candlestick on the table. So that very moment he heard the bishop coming into the room and in haste. Haste means hurry. He obviously got scared that the bishop had come and without the bishop's permission he had picked those candlesticks. So in that hurry, what happened? One candlestick fell on the table. The bishop enters and he sees what is going on but goes to the settee up left with the covering. Are you admiring my candlesticks? I am proud of them. They were a gift from my mother. A little too handsome for this poor cottage, perhaps, but all I have to remind me of her. Your bed is ready. Will you lie down? So the bishop entered the room. He saw what the convict was doing, but rather than going to the convict and taking away those candlesticks from his hand, this is something usually we people do. If somebody picks up something which is very, very special for you without your permission, so what is the first thing we do when we see that person holding it? We will go and we will take it back from that person. But the bishop did not do any of that. He went to that settee, again that place where you can sit as well as lie down, and he started putting up the coverings there. Then he said to the convict that you are admiring my candlesticks. Admiring means to like something, to praise something, to find something very good. So he says that you are admiring my candlesticks. Then he told him that I am proud of them. I love my candlesticks because they were a gift from my mother. A little too handsome for this poor cottage, perhaps. He says, I understand that my cottage, my house is very poor. It is a very simple looking cottage and these candlesticks are too handsome, too smart to fit into this poor place. But this is the only thing that I have to remind me of her. The only thing that reminds me of my mother. Your bed is ready. Will you lie down now? So the bishop says that your bed is ready. Now come here and lie down. The convict says, yes, I'll lie down. Look here. Why the devil are you kind to me? Suspiciously. What do you want? So the convict was still not able to understand the reason why the bishop was so good to him. So he says that I don't understand why the devil, why are you so good to me? Why are you so, kind to me? He was very suspicious. Suspicious means very doubtful. So very doubtfully he asked that, why are you doing this to me? What do you want in return? The bishop says that I want you to have a good sleep, my friend. So the bishop addressed him once again by calling him my friend, and he said that I just want you to sleep. Convict says, I believe you want to convert me. Save my soul. Don't you call it? Well, it's no good. See, I don't want any religion, and as for the church, bah, I hate the church. So convict says that I know why you're doing this to me, because you want to convert me. Convert me, you want to change me. You want me to change into a nice person. You want to save my soul. That means you want me not to do anything wrong from now onwards. He says, well, it's no good. Okay, so he warned the bishop that no matter how hard you try, it is of no use to you. He says, I don't want any religion, and for the church, I hate it. So he says that I don't like a church either, I hate it. The bishop says, that is a pity, my son, as the church does not hate you. So the bishop says, that is, I felt very sorry. I feel very sorry when you say that you hate the church, because the church does not hate you back. It is a religious place which loves everyone and anyone who comes there. Convict says, you are going to try to convert me. Oh, ha ha. That's a good idea. Ha ha ha. No, mon royal the bishop. I don't want any of your faith, hope and charity. See? So anything you do for me, you are doing to the devil. Understand? So the convict says that yes, you are certainly trying to convert me. He starts laughing. He says, what a good idea. That is a wonderful idea. But I don't want your faith. I don't want you to teach me to have faith, to have trust in God. I don't want you to give me any hope for the future. I don't want any charity. I don't want anything from you in return. So he says that remember, whatever you are doing for me, you are doing for the devil. And he said that very defiantly. Now, defiantly means somebody who's very rigid, somebody who's very adamant, not ready to listen to you. Okay, supposingly I say that I want milk and my mother says, no, you need to have coffee, for example. So I am very defiant that no matter what happens, I am going to have milk only. So the convict was very firm, he was very stern, and he says that just remember, whatever you are trying to do to me, you are doing it for a devil, because I am not a man, I am a devil. One must do a great deal for the devil in order to do a little for God. So again, something that tells us how nice the bishop was. He says that at times, if you want to do something for God, then you have to do something for the devil also. Okay, what he meant to say was that in order to make God happy, in order to please God, you have to be good to the people who are bad. Okay, if somebody is not good to you, you cannot say that no, that person is not a good person, so I am not going to be good to that person. Even if somebody is good or bad, you have to be good to them, and only then the God is going to be happy with you. This is what the bishop believed. Convict got very angry. He said, I don't want any religion, I tell you. So he again said that I don't want any religion. Bishop says, won't you lie down now? It's late. So the bishop was again and again telling him to lie down on the bed because it was very late. The convict started grumbling. Grumbling means mumbling something, speaking something very, very slowly so that only you can hear that. So he said, well, all right, but I won't be preached at. Preached at means I don't want you to try to convert me. I don't want any of your goodness. You are sure no one will come? So after the convict had lied down on the couch, he was again doubtful. So he asked the bishop that, are you sure nobody is going to come to the house? The bishop says, I don't think they will, but if you do, you yourself have locked the door. So the bishop says that I don't think anybody is going to come to the house, and besides, even if somebody does, then you only have locked the door, and if the door is locked, how can somebody just enter my house? Convict says, I wonder if it is safe. He goes to the door and tries it, then turns and sees the bishop holding the covering, annoyed. Here, you go to bed, I'll cover myself. The bishop hesitates. Go on, I tell you. So the convict was obviously doubtful. He says, I don't know whether it is safe or not. So he went to the door, he tries to open it when it was locked, and then he turned around and he saw that the bishop was still standing there, holding that covering in his hand. So the bishop wanted the convict to lie down so that he could put the coverings over him. When the convict saw this, he got very annoyed, he got very, very angry, and he says, you go to bed. So the convict told the bishop to go to his bed and I will cover myself. He said, don't worry about me, I am not a kid, I will cover myself. The bishop was a little hesitant. He did not want to go and leave the convict all alone. But the convict said again, go on, I tell you. So the convict insisted on the bishop to go away from there. The bishop said, good night, my son, and he exited from the left door. Convict waits till he is off, then tries the bishop's door. So he waited once the bishop was out of that room, and then he tries the bishop's door. Tries the bishop's door means he tried to open the door of the bishop's room. No lock, of course, curse it. Looks round and sees the candlesticks again. I'll have another look at them. He takes them up and toys with them. Worth hundreds, I'll warrant. If I had these turned into money, they'd stop me fair. The old boy is fond of them. Said his mother gave him them. His mother, yes, they did not think of my mother when they sent me to hell. He was kind to me too, but what's a bishop for except to be kind to you? Here, cheer up, my hearty, you're getting soft. God, won't my chainmates laugh to see 15729 hesitating about collaring the plunder because he felt good? Good? Ha ha! Oh my God! Good! Ha! 15729 getting soft. That's a good one. Ha ha! No, I'll take his candlesticks and go. If I stay here, he'll preach at me in the morning and I'll get soft. Damn him and his preachings too. Here goes. So, after the bishop entered his room, the convict tried to open his room and obviously the room was not locked. Just the way the bishop did not lock the door of the house, he did not lock his room either. So he says, of course. So the convict had actually expected that the bishop would have kept his room open. He looks around and he again saw those candlesticks and he says that I'll have another look at them. I'll go and I'll see them one more time. He takes them up and toys with them. Toys with them, plays with them. So he picked those candlesticks up. He started playing with them. And he says, worth hundreds, I'll warrant. Warrant means that I assure, I guarantee that if I sell these candlesticks, they are going to be worth hundreds of dollars. If I had these turned into money, they'd start me fair. So he started thinking that if he would sell these candlesticks and would get money in return of it, then they would start him fair. Start him fair means then that is going to give him a lot of money to start a new life ahead. The old boy is fond of them too, fond of them, attached to something. So he started thinking about the bishop who had told him that he really loved those candlesticks because his mother had given them to him. So the convict thought that nobody thought about my mother when they sent me to jail, so why should I think about somebody else's mother? He said that he was kind to me too. So again, so you can see there's a contradiction which is going on in the mind of the convict. He liked the bishop. He knew that the bishop is a very good person. But on the other hand, he has been in the jail for 10 years. So, that thing was coming into him again and again. So, he says that he was kind to me, but then a bishop has to be kind to everyone. So, it isn't special either. Then he started talking to himself. He said, cheer up, my hearty. Why are you getting soft? Soft means emotional. Why are you getting so emotional about this person? Wouldn't my chainmates laugh to see 15729 about collaring the plumber because he felt good? He thought that what would his chainmates, means his prison mates, the people who were there along with him in the prison, he thought, what are they going to think about me when they would come to know that I, 15729, was hesitating, was, thinking whether to collar. Collaring means stealing. Plunder means that thing, something which is very valuable. So he thought that what are my friends going to think about me when they would get to know that I was thinking so much before stealing something. He says, they are going to laugh at me. 15729 is getting emotional. This is how they are going to make fun of me. He says that I will take these candlesticks and I will go because if I stay here, he'll preach at me in the morning. Preach at me again, he will try to convert me. He will talk good things with me and I will get emotional. Damn him and his preachings too. Here goes. So he again cursed the bishop and whatever he had taught him, and he says that I am going to go from here. He takes the candlesticks, stows them in his coat and cautiously exits. Left corner, as he does so, the door slams. So he took the candlestick, stored them in his coat. Stored means hiding something. So he hid those candlesticks in his coat and very cautiously, very carefully, he exited from the door which was in the left corner. But when he went out of that door, the door slams. Slams means shut with a loud noise. So when he went out of the house, the door closed and there was a very loud noise that came. So the convict had done what he was good at. He had stolen the candlesticks of the bishop. What will happen next? We'll read about that in the last part of our video, wherein I'll explain to you the rest of the play that we are left with. So I'll see you all now in my next lecture.